doctor.
Having climbed several of the highest mountains in the world, Deshun is living proof that one's attitude does indeed determine one's altitude. As a wife, mother and entrepreneur, her love of mountaineering has helped her rise above life's everyday challenges.
I was born in Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape, and I spent my formative years there. The interesting thing about living in the Eastern Cape, because that's part of what shaped my desire to be a mountaineer, is that we had this house that is on a hill, pretty much like this one, but much smaller, and it looked over a valley, and on the other side of that there were these mountains. Just, you know, they used to start sort of green and then blue and then they disappear into a grey, and I was always so mesmerized by that. I would say mountaineering has really changed me fundamentally. When I first started climbing, I thought climbing is all about high ego and can-do and gung-ho, you know, very macho attitude. Because all of my climbing role models were males, I used to try and be like that. I used to try and climb like they would climb. And I soon found out that it actually doesn't work for me. And amazingly, it has transformed the way I climb. I actually am now a more effective climber than I was in my early days as a mountaineer. And I would say the second big thing that I learned in the mountains is just how small we are as human beings. You know, when you're this tiny little ant on this vast thing called Mount Everest, and it can blow you off the mountain, the weather can come in, and you know, all of that stuff just helps you understand the significance of what you're doing, but also the insignificance of your ego. And so I've learned a lot of humility. You can't just look at a situation and assume that you know what you're doing. You can't just tackle something and go, I'm going to conquer this thing. You can't. One of the great climbers of our modern time, Ed Vestiers, is an American, and he said you don't get to conquer Everest, you get to sneak up to the top, take a picture quickly and sneak back down before she realizes that you're there. And I think it's pretty much like that with a lot of things in life. You know, if you prepare well enough and you know what you're doing in terms of your competence and capabilities, there is still that tiny margin of you've got to respect this thing enough to say, I'm not conquering you, I'm lucky enough to get through.
After 13 high-altitude expeditions on 5 continents, Deshun has now embarked on the journey of a lifetime, motherhood.
Now that I'm a mom, I would say that Edward has safely firmly put my climbing plans on ice. Excuse the pun. My priorities have shifted, and I find it more important to nurture him as a young boy before I embark on another big climb. Well, Edward, since he's come into our lives, the house is messier. We're also learning quite a lot of patience in terms of how to deal with a young child. You know, we were 41 when Edward came along, so it was quite a late arrival, and we both had such set ideas on who we are and what we prefer and things, and I think he's just come and turned all of that upside down.
And for me as a father, the difference he's made in my life has been all the difference. It's been an incredible adventure to be a father, which I had no idea before it took place, the sheer extent of it. The characteristics that I would hope Edward would take from his mum, well, number one, he is a formidable climber for a 16-month. So a sense of adventure would be a great thing for him to take from her. The second thing is an ability to deal with life as it comes along, and to face the challenges and to see them as something to relish and not as an impediment to something else.
Regaining and maintaining fitness after having a baby is a struggle for many mothers, but Deshun and her family decided on a practical and fun solution.
Keeping in shape and staying active has been quite a challenge for me. I used to be sort of a frequent gym goer and all of that, but with the challenge of having a business at home and having Edward, it becomes a bit difficult. So what we've decided to do as a family is we go on a walk every day, usually about 20-30 minutes around the neighborhood, up the Koppie, just up the road, and Edward is usually on either my back or his dad's back. My shining moment as a human being, I don't think I've discovered it yet, to be honest. I do quite enjoy when I'm encouraging an audience and they respond to that. And when people come up to me either straight after my talk or 2 or 3 years later, and they still tell me what a difference it made. So that really does help me feel like I'm living quite purposefully. And as a family, our shining moment is Edward. We really thoroughly enjoy him. The thing that we really do enjoy about him is just to watch him grow and develop, and every day there's something new, and we just marvel in watching how he shapes as a person.
Deshun's accomplishments are no small feat, and she serves as an inspiration for us all to reach new heights as we go from ordinary to extraordinary every day.
I want to live the best life.